Thanks for joining us for our first game here in the quarterfinals of this season's Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. It's the Auburn Knights versus the Hononegah Indians. One of these teams will earn the first spot in the Final Four. All right, we begin with our Superior Joining Technologies buzzing round. Players, we're 3 games into the season. You don't need me to explain the rules. Just wait for me to call your name. That's probably the most important thing. And if you buzz in, you're on your own, no conferring. We'll get to as many questions as we can in the time allotted for this round. Hands on your buzzers for the first question in this week's Superior Joining Technologies Buzz-In Round. A 2-hour episode called Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen ended what 1970s TV show starring Alan Alda that was set in a Korean War? Spencer.
MASH.
That is correct. Korean War Army Hospital. Most watched TV episode in history, 50.2 million viewers, and that's got you 10 points. You're first on the board, Hononegah. Children's Day coincides with the birthday of what politician who gave the Tryst with Destiny speech? Ethan.
Nehru.
That is correct. He was also the first Prime Minister of India. You are on the board now with 10. What American composer of the opera Vanessa also wrote an adagio? Ethan.
Barber.
That's correct. His adagio for strings played at many funerals. Auburn, you've got 20. What job title, assumed in a 2018 game by Pikachu, has a private form? Spencer.
Detective.
That is correct. The private form held by Philip Marlowe, and you also didn't need the Sherlock Holmes cue. You now have 20 points. It's a tie game. What form of energy is not exchanged between a thermodynamic system and its surroundings in an adiabatic process? Leaf.
Heat.
That is correct. That is the energy form, and you're now up by 10. New question. What novel, in which everybody has a share in a syndicate founded by Milo Minderbender, depicts World War II? Ethan.
Catch-22.
That is correct. The World War II bombing missions, and is by Joseph Heller. You didn't even need the author. That's 10 more points for you. You're up by 20. What statesman abolished all debts as part of his reforms in Athens in the 6th century BC before going into a self-imposed exile? Ethan.
Solon.
Solon is correct. Tough Western Civ question there, and you got that, and that's 10 more points. What American volcano, which formerly included the Goat Rocks Dome, was mostly destroyed during a Justin.
Mount St. Helens.
That is correct. The 1980 eruption. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago. That's 10 points for you. The mihrab, or prayer niche in a mosque wall, points to what holiest city? Lily.
Mecca.
That is correct. Every Muslim expected to make a pilgrimage there at least once in their lives. The holiest city in Islam, and that is 10 more points for you. What theorem gives the maximum number of colors needed to color leaf?
4-color map theorem.
That is correct. To color a planar map of contiguous countries so no 2 adjacent regions have the same color. You didn't need the rest of the definition. 10 points. What French author collapsed from a fatal illness while performing the title role in his own play? Ethan.
Moliere.
That is correct. You didn't even get to the ironic part of that, where he collapsed performing in The Imaginary Invalid, but that's 10 points for you. In 2018, what band added Mike Campbell and Neil Finn to replace Lindsey Buckingham, who played guitar behind Christine McVie and Stevie Nicks? Ethan.
Fleetwood Mac.
That is correct. Wrapping up their national tour right now, and that's 10 more points. In 2018, what country signed a peace deal with the Oromo Liberation Front, which represents the largest ethnic group in the Horn of Africa? Spencer.
Somalia.
Incorrect. Auburn, you have a chance for these 10 points. Ethan.
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia is correct, and that's your 10. What composer whose one act? Spencer.
Bach.
Incorrect. I'll continue for Auburn. Whose one-act opera, Gianni Schicchi, is part of his Il Trittico? Ethan.
Puccini.
That is correct. Depicted Pinkerton's marriage to a Japanese girl in Madame Butterfly. You didn't need that as well. Kind of a big risk there, Spencer, but sometimes it's worth taking that risk. That 10 points went to Auburn, and that's all the time we have for this round. So after one, Auburn has a 100-point lead. It's 120 to 20, but we all know how many points are left on the board. There's a lot. We have 3 more rounds left to play, including our volleyball round, which is coming up right after this break. We'll see you then.